Welcome to the T. Allen Haynes Radio Show. Conversations with elite business leaders from around the world. And now, here is your host, T. Allen Haynes.
Welcome back to the show. We've got a great guest for you today. Megha Jain is a senior at Granada Hills Charter High School in Los Angeles, California. She's an inventor, an avid public speaker, and the founder of the Science Fair and STEM Expo at her school. In her spare time, she enjoys reading The Economist and playing the violin. In college, she hopes to pursue environmental engineering and computer science in order to study the interaction between artificial intelligence and energy sustainability. Welcome to the show, Megha.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes, we're excited to have you as well, and excited for you to share what you're doing with the audience. So let's get right into it. Tell us a little bit about your business and the types of things that the types of people that you're helping.
Right. So I live in Los Angeles, California, and this is a city that has unfortunately been affected by a drought for the past decade. So the problem I'm trying to target is the drought and water conservation in particular. My device, it's called Switch It, is something that you can install in old 1.6 gallon per flush toilet tanks, and it converts them into dual mode with just less than 1/5 of the cost, and without all the hassle it takes to throw out your old toilet tank and replace it. So this is mainly targeted at Californian residents for now and people throughout the world who want to conserve water in their homes.
Very cool. So did you just wake up one morning and decide you wanted to do this?
Well, not exactly. It was a process of about 4 years. I started doing this in 8th grade, and now I'm a senior in high school. So it took quite a while. My family, we actually take an annual road trip to San Francisco, and it's about 6 to 8 hours, so I usually just stare out of the window, admiring the beautiful Central Californian landscape. But in 2015, the landscape was not what it usually was. It was extremely parched, and that really, really bothered me. Being a Californian resident, that's just not the state I knew, and I couldn't watch the beautiful landscape just wither away as I stood on the sidelines. So I knew that it was time to take action and step into the water conservation game.
Well, that's very inspirational, getting to that point.
Thank you.
Along the way, has there been someone that's inspired you?
Yeah, I've been really lucky. There's been quite a few people who have inspired me, but I'd say my two biggest inspirations are my parents, because they're entirely new, just like me, to this entrepreneurship and innovation arena. And even though I'm not able to get a lot of advice and guidance from them directly, they do everything in their power to help me find people who can, encourage me and put me in the right direction. So I really appreciate them, and they really are an inspiration to me for jumping into the unknown right alongside me.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that with us. And that brings us to, what about a book? I'm sure you read a lot, but is there one book that stands out that's inspired you? Yeah,
for sure. There's actually this book called Hit Refresh by Satya Nadella, who's the CEO of Microsoft. And he had a lot of struggles growing up, and he describes them in that book. And he also centers on how his central passion allowed him to overcome all those things, and he worked hard to get where he was in life. That inspires me as a 17-year-old. It makes me think that if I just focus on what really matters to me, I can get somewhere in life too.
Awesome. So I've been fortunate to be around you for a little bit, and I see your passion, but what is it that drives you every day to do what you're doing?
I'm pretty young. I'm still in high school. I still have a lot of things ahead of me, and I think it's the state of the world and the generation I'm in, and the way I see things around me that really inspire me to keep going every morning. When I wake up with a mission in mind. I'm from this generation that's unfortunately been seeing so many problems in the world. And water conservation, typically droughts, is a big part of that. Because with droughts, there's so many cities in the world right now that are approaching day zero. And that's really alarming. And our generation, we want to do something about this. We're sick and tired of the fact that our world is stuck in this state, and we think we can really help people. So coming from that mindset, I wake up every morning telling myself that I can do something with what I have and that I want to leave my mark on the world.
What are you finding to be the biggest misconception about water conservation?
So after doing a lot of research, I'd have to say the biggest misconception is where we can conserve water. So back in 2015, when I started this project, I was seeing a lot of ads on TV about how Californians could be conserving water. And all of them talked about replacing your shower head, your washing machine, your kitchen appliances, but none of them was really touching on this one appliance that we all take for granted, and that's our toilet tanks. You know, toilet tanks usually use up 1.6 gallons every flush cycle, and not all of that is actually necessary. Usually we only really need 0.8 to 1.2 gallons for liquid waste. So after doing more research about that, I started advocating for people replacing their toilet tanks and discovered that that's a really costly solution. So I tried to come up with a better way of doing that.
Excellent. So maybe the listeners thinking about, how they can help with this, maybe personally change some things in water conservation, but what would be the most common obstacle preventing them from doing that?
Yeah, so I think the most common obstacle would unfortunately have to be cost. The average person does not want to spend $150 to $500 replacing their old toilet tank, having someone come into their house and, install it, and then throwing out their old toilets. That's just something that people don't want to do, and the hassle involved with it is just too much as well. So that's the issue that I'm trying to tackle here.
Can you share with us your process and how this works? Describes how it actually conserves water?
Right. So this is basically a really small device that actually has an open-close mechanism. So that's the switch part of it that it's named after. And then it also has a one-way valve. So basically, you would just fit this into your toilet tank. It has a handle attached to it, and the handle is adjustable as well. So it'll fit into any toilet tank. And you just place it in your toilet tank. The handle grips the side of the toilet tank wall, and then you put your toilet tank lid back on top, and it just stays there. And the switch is on the outside of the handle, so you can simply flick a switch, and you'll be able to conserve 0.4 to 0.8 gallons per flush.
What does that add up over a year or over time?
Yeah, that's a great question. So per household, this could be saving, 1,000 gallons of water per year. But let's look at this scaled. So within Los Angeles County, and in fact, just the city of Los Angeles, if just 10% of the households were to use this product, we could be saving over 900,000 gallons of water every day.
You can do a lot with 900,000 gallons of water.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All those farms in Central California, we could actually be using it over there. And our agriculture industry is pretty big, so this would definitely have a huge impact.
Absolutely. So that's some pretty staggering numbers. And if you took this nationally or even global, you're really making an impact.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Absolutely. So if someone's thinking about, converting to conserving water, what would be the first thing they should do?
I think the first thing you should do is analyze most of your appliances and see if there are any leaks. Because a lot of people don't realize that a lot of their appliances that they're using are old and leaky, and that there's unnecessary water being wasted. And then once you've done that analysis, make a wise decision about which appliances you want to replace, and then look into options such as Switch It that are really cheap and efficient. So you'll be saving both water and money.
So your plan is to take this globally. What's your plan for that?
Right. So my product is currently still in the pre-manufacturing phase. I'm trying to get investors, and the next step would be starting a Kickstarter campaign. But for now, we are starting to spread the word on social media. I also have a website, so if you guys would love to check that out, the link would be Switch It. So it's actually spelled SWCHIT.com. And if you go there, you'll be able to see more about the product and more about our mission and how we're going to scale this globally.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on all your success. That's very impressive for what you're doing. And thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No, you're welcome. So best of luck to you. So there you have it for this edition of the show. We'll see you the next time.
Thanks for listening to the T. Allen Haynes Radio Show with T. Allen Haynes. Conversations with elite business leaders from around the world. We will see you next time on the T. Allen Haynes Radio Show.